gardening and insects. Two things that go together quite a bit. If you've ever had a garden outside, you have had insects in that garden. You've had lots of insects in that garden. Some of them are helping promote your plant growth. Some of them maybe not. There are lots of insects that can be found in gardens, and most of them can be considered either beneficial or harmful. And there are some insects that just don't really have any effect on the plants at all. We're not going to be spending time talking about in this video. The title is Beneficial and Harmful Garden Insects, or something along that line. I haven't actually figured out the title yet. But it's going to be something like that. So we're going to be looking at harmful and beneficial garden insects. And we're going to start with the harmful ones. Most specifically, a pretty big family of insects called true bugs. There are basically two main types of true bugs. Ones that eat plants and ones that eat other bugs. We're going to be looking at the plant-eating ones because they can damage your garden. Let's get to it. Well, he's not in the garden, but I do see one of the first bugs on my list. See if I can get him. He's going to jump away like immediately. Go on. Yeah, no. Go on, jump. There we go. Now, some of the most common garden bugs, both beneficial and harmful, are true bugs. And this is a true bug. This is a sharpshooter. Yes, that's what they're called. It's a subgroup of leafhoppers. These ones are harmful. They use their piercing-sucking mouthparts to eat plant sap, which isn't necessarily great, although they're definitely much more damaging species. They're pretty common throughout my garden, at least. I would imagine a lot of people probably have these in their garden, or something similar, some other leafhopper species. They can jump like crazy. Let's see if we can get the jump force here in a minute. No, you flew away before I get the cameras on. Anyway, they're definitely much more damaging species of true bugs, and we are going to go find one right now. Now, out of all the true bugs running around my garden right now, this is by far the most prolific. This is a squash bug. Now, why do we think it's called a squash bug? What do you think it likes to eat? That is correct. They like to eat squash and pumpkins. They use their mouthparts to suck the sap out of the leaves. They also feed on the fruit of these plants. And they reproduce and spread pretty quickly. The eggs only take a little over a week to hatch, which allows them to pretty quickly spread throughout the garden. And while we're on the topic of squash bugs, this isn't a squash bug, but it is something very similar. Oops, it's flying away. He's gonna land. Hold on. He's got to land right there, yeah. This is a close relative of theirs. No! The leaf-footed bug is flying away. They're also probably not good for your garden. Just wanted to film them while I saw them. Nothing super unique about them. They also feed on plant fluids and stuff. In fact, as a rule of thumb, pretty much any plant-eating true bug species is probably not good for your garden, like this stink bug. Or these aphids. Anyway, let's talk about some more harmful bugs. In addition to true bugs, there are also many species of plant-eating beetles. This is a striped cucumber beetle. And as the name would probably make you suspect, they eat cucumbers, as well as pumpkins, squash, and other similar plants. They are fairly problematic. I believe they can also transmit diseases. Most insects that are harmful to the garden can be able to transmit diseases. Even apart from that, just them eating can be quite damaging. Their eggs are a little harder to deal with because they lay them in the soil as opposed to on the leaves of the plants. There's also a spotted cucumber beetle that's quite a problem. I haven't seen any in the garden this year, but they look just like this guy, but they're green with black spots instead of this yellow and black striping. Worth noting that not all beetles are harmful to the garden. We'll be talking about a very beneficial beetle species later this episode. You can get out of the cup now. Go! Be free! The lid is off. Bye. Alright, before we start talking about beneficial bugs, there's one more harmful one I want to talk about. This should be a good place to find them. And the insect I'm looking for are grasshoppers. Because while they may be grasshoppers, they're also grass eaters, not just grass. Actually, they're hopping everywhere right now. Not just grass, but pretty much any other plant they can get a hold of. They can be pretty destructive in large numbers. There's a reason why the locusts were one of the plagues. But honestly, I think that's enough bad news. Let's talk about some beneficial bugs. Now, before we continue, a quick disclaimer. These insects are damaging. However, a good, healthy plant or healthy plant system can withstand being fed on. They're designed to. It's all part of the ecosystem. It's all supposed to connect. If every time a insect fed on the plant died, plants would die out pretty quickly. It's when there's large infestations of these insects or the plant is already unhealthy due to other reasons that these insects can be so damaging. And one of the easiest ways to control insect populations are with beneficial bugs. A lot of people use pesticides, but personally I'm not a huge fan of spraying chemicals onto something that I might be eating later. However, beneficial insects that eat other bugs, can help control the population. So that is what we're going to go look at now. Alright, now here's a cool beneficial insect. You're looking at this and probably thinking this is a bee. This is not a bee, even though it kind of looks like one color-wise. This is actually a species of fly. It's called a robber fly. Now, robber flies... Oh, buddy. There you go. Sit still for your close-up. There we go. Look how fuzzy he is. Robber flies, unlike many species of flies, are active predators. And they will hunt a lot of bad bugs for your garden, perhaps most notably grasshoppers. Honestly though, these guys eat pretty much any insect you can imagine. They can give a painful bite, but only if you mess with them. They won't bite you for no reason. There's also another species, or come back, okay. That isn't our type of bug, by the way. That can come in a lot of different shapes and colors, but they all kind of have, well, colors. They all have a pretty similar body shape, so you can tell they're robber flies. Anyway, let's go find some more beneficial bugs. So we talked a lot about herbivorous true bugs that suck out like plant sap and whatnot. However, there are also true bugs that are predatory and eat other insects, including bad ones. This is one such insect. This is a juvenile pale green assassin bug. You might notice that he also has a proboscis-like thing, similar to the leaf-footed bugs and squash bugs looked at earlier, but you might notice it is much shorter and much sturdier looking. That's because it is not for tapping in the plant stems, but rather biting other insects. Upon said bite, this little cutie will inject venom that acts sort of like spider venom, liquefying the insides of its prey so that they can then suck out the insides with its proboscis like a straw. And so, on the one hand, they can be a mixed bag in gardens. Bites can be painful, but they're certainly not dangerous. And I definitely think that if you see one of these, it's worth leaving them in your garden because they will eat lots of bad bugs. After this shoot, I'm definitely going to put them right next to all the squash bugs and hope he eats some of them. Also, they're called assassin bugs because they like to ambush their prey, sort of like hide behind things and pounce on them when their prey's not looking, which I think is kind of awesome. I generally think they're one of my favorite insect species of all time, personally. Oh, they're so cool. Look at how slowly they move. You can just see what a good ambush predator they would be. And these guys come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. Some of them are like red colored. There are big brown ones here in Texas called wheel bugs. But I love all of them, and I think they're all definitely the kind of bugs you want in your garden. Alright, so for our final insect, I looked everywhere for like the entire time I was filming this, probably like 3 weeks that I spent filming this video. Could not find one. They're normally so common, but I could not find one anywhere. So hopefully you guys don't mind too bad. I'm going to use some old footage and I'm just going to voice over it because I really cannot do this video without this animal. But I'm also not going to spend another 4 weeks looking for one of these and delay the video. So without further ado, the ultimate garden insect, the pinnacle of beneficial bugs, in my opinion, the ladybug. Ladybugs, despite the name bug, are not true bugs. They are beetles. They are the beneficial beetle species that I hinted at earlier in this video. And they look so sweet, they look so cute. They are voracious little predators, right? These things will tear through aphids, mealybugs, other small pest insects like it's cool. You cannot have much better in your garden than a bunch of native beneficial ladybugs. Clearly, I do not have ladybugs in my garden, which maybe is why some of these plants are dying. But I think it's actually heat more likely. But yeah, these guys are the ultimate. They are the best. I'm actually going to put a link up in the corner somewhere for the full ladybug video that I'm getting this footage from if you want to go watch that video. And it might be also worth noting that these guys are poisonous. Not venomous, poisonous. The difference, of course, being venom is injected, whereas poison is ingested. That's an oversimplification, but that is basically how it goes. So ladybugs, if you pick them up, you might notice they secrete this yellow fluid that is poison. It's not lethal or anything, but it would definitely ruin your day. And with that said, there we have it. I have definitely not covered all of the beneficial and harmful insects one might find in their garden. Not even close. But I've definitely covered some big groups and a couple of very unique and interesting species, I think. I hope you guys watching, if you made it this far, enjoyed the video. If you made it this far, please comment. If I do a part 2 to this video someday, what other beneficial or harmful insects should I cover? Please like and subscribe. I'm Wolf Johnson. Read a whole lot on this episode, and I will see you again soon.